His church banned him. His country exiled him. He wrote the book 100 million people read. Kahlil Gibran stood at the window of a cold-water tenement in New York City. Outside, ships left the harbor for countries he could never return to. Inside, he wrote about home. The Maronite Church excommunicated him in 1921. His books were banned. Lebanon would not take him back. He was 38 years old. He had no country. He had no church. He had only the lamp on his desk and the silence of a man who has been told he belongs nowhere. The lamp was small, clay, a single wick. The flame barely moved, but it was the only light in the room. He had come to America as a boy of 12. His mother brought him across the ocean with nothing but 2 suitcases and a belief that the new world would be kinder. It was not always kinder, but it was open. And open was enough for a boy who had grown up in a village where everyone already knew what you were allowed to become. By the time the church banned him, Gibran had already lost more than most men lose in a lifetime. His sister, his brother, his mother, now his country, now his church. He stood in that tenement room with the harbor below and the lamp above and nothing in between but the question every exile carries. Who am I without the place that made me? I've sat in rooms like that, not in New York, not in exile from a country, but I have sat in rooms where I was not wanted, where the door was closed to me, where I had to decide whether to stay or leave, and both choices felt like failure. You are not exiled from a country, but you feel exiled from your own life. Gibran had every reason to stop. The church said his words were dangerous. His homeland said he could not return. The publishers said no one would read a book of poetry by an exiled Lebanese immigrant writing in his third language. They were all wrong, but he did not know that yet. He knew only the lamp, the cold, the ships leaving without him. What do you do when every door closes? He did not write the prophet in a year. He wrote it in 12 winters in that cold room. 12 years of watching ships leave the harbor. 12 years of no one saying yes. Most people would have stopped after the first rejection. Gibran collected dozens. Publishers returned his manuscripts without comment. Editors told him the language was too poetic, too foreign, too soft. He rewrote every essay at least 4 times. The essay on love took him longer than any other. Not because he did not understand love, because he understood it too well. He had loved his mother. She died when he was 22. He had loved his homeland. It would not let him return. He had loved his church. It banned him. He had loved Mary Haskell, the woman who believed in him before anyone else, who paid his rent, who read every draft by candlelight and told him to keep going. He could not keep her either. He sat with all of that love, returned, refused, unreceived. He did not throw it away. He did not harden against it. A lesser man would have decided love was not worth the cost. Gibran decided the cost was the proof. Every loss was evidence that he had loved something real. You cannot lose what you never had. You cannot grieve what never mattered. You think love means holding on. Gibran learned the opposite. He wrote, "Love possesses not, nor would it be possessed." A man with no country wrote that. A man banned by his church wrote that. A man who would never go home wrote the most read book about love. He did not hold. The letting go was not one moment. It was 12 years of moments. Each rejection was a small death. Each closed door was a reminder, you do not belong here. But here is what Gibran discovered in the cold room. He discovered that love does not require belonging. Love requires only the willingness to let the thing you love be free. The church banned him. He stopped needing its approval. Lebanon exiled him. He stopped waiting to return. His mother died. He stopped pretending grief was not love. This is not easy. It is not something you decide once and then you are done. It is something you decide again every morning. You wake up and the loss is still there. The door is still closed. The ship has still left without you. And you decide again, I will not let the closed door teach me that love is dangerous. I will let it teach me that love is free. There is a word in Arabic, haneen. It means a longing for something you cannot return to. Not sadness, not anger, something older than both. Gibran lived inside Hanin for 30 years. He did not try to cure it. He wrote from inside it. And what came out was not grief. It was wisdom. Most people run from Hanin. They fill the silence with noise. They call people they do not want to talk to. They make plans they will not keep. Anything to avoid sitting with the thing they lost. Gibran sat with it every night. The lamp, the cold harbor, the names of people who were gone. He did not run. He wrote, and the writing did not make the loss smaller. It made it mean something. You have lost someone. You sat in the room after. You did not know what to do with your hands. Gibran knew. He picked up the pen. He wrote, "When love beckons to you, follow him, though his ways are hard and steep." Love did not promise comfort. Love promised the truth. And the truth was this: he belonged nowhere. Therefore he belonged everywhere. The lamp was still burning. The Prophet was published in 1923. It sold 1,000 copies that year. Then 10,000. Then 1,000,000. Then 100 million. Gibran never went home. He died in New York in 1931. He was 48 years old. His lungs were gone. His liver was gone. He had spent everything he had on the work. His friends said he did not look afraid. He looked like a man who had already arrived somewhere. He had arrived. Not in Lebanon. Not in a church that welcomed him back. Not in the approval of the publishers who had returned his manuscripts without comment. He had arrived inside the work itself. The 12 years of cold rooms and closed doors had not defeated him. They had made him exact. Every word in the Prophet was a word that had survived rejection. Every sentence had been rewritten 4 times. Nothing soft remained, only truth. But his words went everywhere he could not. They crossed every border that had been closed to him. They entered churches that had banned him. They reached countries that had exiled him. They were read by people who had never heard of Lebanon, who did not know what a Maronite church was, who could not find Bshari on a map, and still they wept. Because the words were not about Lebanon. They were not about a church. They were about the cold room, the lamp, the ships leaving without you, the love you could not keep, the love you chose to give anyway. That is what you carry when you love without possession. You carry the lamp, not the harbor, not the ships, not the country that closed its doors. You carry only the light, and the light is enough. The lamp on his desk was small, clay, a single wick, but it was enough. I love without possession. I love without possession. I love without possession.